The next element in Papa's collection is hydrogen. Now, before we get to that, our sample here, let me go ahead and just point out hydrogen is the lightest element on the periodic table. Each element has a number of protons in it that tell it how many electrons it's going to have when it's electrically neutral. And hydrogen's only got one. And that means that each hydrogen atom only has one proton. And that means that hydrogen doesn't have a lot of mass to it. So it's a very, very light element. Now, hydrogen, when it's pure, when it's by itself, will form a gas called hydrogen gas, H2. It has two atoms stuck together, and it is the lightest molecule that is possible. That means that it's going to be difficult to store because it's going to float. So I don't have, well, it wouldn't be too tough to generate some hydrogen gas, but it's difficult to store. And also, when hydrogen reacts with oxygen, you get a bang. And that means that if I generate some hydrogen, it's awfully tempting to just put a match in it and hear it go bang. So I don't have any hydrogen by itself as part of my element collection. But what I do have is a compound that it's actually a mixture of a bunch of different molecules, but each one of these molecules has two hydrogen atoms for every one carbon atom. We've already talked about carbon. Okay, this is wax, and it so happens that I'm using this as a birthday candle wax, and this is my source of hydrogen here. Now, if you take carbon and hydrogen, put it together, you're going to get a long string of these little parts that have these three atoms bound together, and they're going to produce long, thin molecules. And that's going to be heavy enough that it turns into a solid, and it's a waxy solid. Well, it's wax. Okay, this is a good way of storing hydrogen, and it means that hydrogen, if it is in this molecule, it's available to react with oxygen, light a match to a birthday candle, and you're going to get heat and light released. And so it's a reactive molecule, and it'll burn nicely. Hence why we use them in birthday candles. Well, fats and oils also have this, and as such, they're a good way of storing energy. And plants and animals generate fats and oils as a way of storing energy. And also, go ahead and notice that there's another molecule that has two hydrogen atoms called water. Water is two hydrogens and an oxygen. Well, that's almost like the little parts of wax, which is two hydrogens and a carbon. So if you burn wax, you'll be generating a lot of energy. You'll generate carbon dioxide. We'll talk about that another day. But you'll also be generating water. So when you burn something, you're actually making water molecules. Well, camels can take advantage of that. When they go out into the desert, they don't take a lot of water in their bodies. They store a lot of fat. And the fat molecules, when they react it with oxygen, will produce water. And that's how camels can keep their water with them in the desert. And it turns out CH2 is actually lighter than H2O, and so it has that advantage. And also, it doesn't evaporate. You can carry it out in the desert, and it's not going to, you don't have to worry about it drying up. So, hydrogen. This is a useful element we like, and I store it as a birthday candle.